So, Jonathan Jones, Jon Bones Jones, Mr. Duck himself, the ducking is getting outrageous. It's crazy. We've got a new series of tweets about him saying why he doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall. Basically code for I don't want the most difficult fight for me in the division. But it's really funny to see because he had another one of these kind of rants back like last year after Aspinall won the belt. And then he went on a little crybaby rant on Twitter and just started tweeting out why he should fight Stipe next and why Aspinall doesn't make sense or why Aspinall hasn't done anything to deserve it. And it's actually crazy at this point. Like, MMA Guru's been making these videos and stuff. He's been making the gay videos and shit like that. I couldn't care less about that. I think it's just, like, it's funny, but I don't know. I don't really care. But in terms of things to actually criticize Jon Jones for, this is definitely one of them. The ducking of Tom Aspinall, now saying he obviously still wants to fight Stipe because that's an easy win, but he now is saying that if he's going to stick around for one more, he would want to fight Alex Pereira because apparently that's the biggest fight for him. And Aspinall is only relevant in the UK. So we're going to look at some of his tweets and we're going to kind of just talk about the sort of landscape of the heavyweight and the light heavyweight divisions and just shit on Jones for like 15 minutes or 10 minutes. I don't know how long this will go for, but yeah, we're just going to shit on Jones and we're going to talk about why he's a duck. And that's just going to be a great time. So let's get into it. So we got the first tweet here. This was recent. It says, "You actually think me fighting Tom would be more massive than Alex and I colliding? Tom only matters in the UK. Newsflash, Pereira is one of the most polarizing figures the sport has seen. Tom's a contender who won the belt against another contender. So are you, Jonathan Jones. You won the belt against Cyril Gane, who was a contender coming off one win. But whatever. We had to save Madison Square Garden's event. Huh? He saved the event because you pulled out. I'm thinking $ legacy, big picture here, not what UK fans are dying to see. Newsflash, bro, since you're the one saying newsflash, Pereira is a polarizing figure. Newsflash, literally anyone with a brain who's actually a hardcore fan of the sport wants you to fight Tom Aspinall. No one wants you to fight Stipe. And if you put up a poll on like the UFC's YouTube or UFC's Instagram with like the most, like thousands and thousands of people could vote on that shit, guarantee you, there would be like 5% for Stipe, and that would just be Jon Jones fans that want to give him the easiest fight possible. And then I think if the fans are not complete casuals and have a brain and not like, ooh, double champ, then they would say Tom Aspinall, because I just don't think, like, the Pereira fight would be cool. But if you're going to do that, do Aspinall first. And if you beat Aspinall, fair play. You can either leave or you fight Pereira. But don't fight Pereira as a guy coming up from another weight class and then go, yeah, I'm done, calling it quits. Look, all respect, if you want to fight Stipe, that's dick move, but whatever. You fight Stipe, and then you want to fight Pereira, and then finally you go, okay, I'll fight Aspinall. Fair play, in the end, it was all worth it, but you're not going to do that. It's extremely clear that you don't want to fight Tom Aspinall, because these tweets are literally code for, give me an easier fight, give me someone who's only going to be able to strike and will have no chance grappling with me. Like, that's what these tweets are code for, but yeah, it's disgraceful stuff. He says he literally just went through this with the French fans. I don't know what you mean. Yeah, you fought Gane because you waited like 3 years until Ngannou left, because Ngannou and Aspinall are like the two guys that are actually really difficult stylistic matchups for you. Not Gane, who can't defend takedowns to save his life, or Pereira, who on the feet would tune you up and murder you, but on the ground it's a pretty easy fight for you and you could probably just take him down. But to be honest, I wouldn't even hate Pereira winning that fight. Like, I would probably pick Jones just with the grappling, but I don't know, Jones is looking fucking fat, he's looking old, he's looking slow, injury as well. I don't know how strong he's going to be in the grappling. Like, I wouldn't mind Pereira to win that fight, but the weird shit that he's talking about is like, why are you acting like your legacy of fighting middleweights at light heavyweight like 10 years ago means anything now? Like, we're talking about heavyweight and we're just talking about you're the champion on paper. You are the champion on paper, fair enough. But then Tom Aspinall, who has more heavyweight wins than you, more heavyweight finishes than you, more ranked wins at heavyweight than you, all of the above. Jon Jones, he won the belt on March 5th of 2023, right? Against Gane, good win, fair enough. even though you didn't win the belt off a champion, so whatever, you won a vacant belt. So why are you acting like Tom Aspinall's interim title against like the number like 2 or 3 guy is somehow more invalid than you fighting for a vacant belt, only accepting a fight once Ngannou left? Because we all heard Dana White's comments about you. I did a Jon Jones video ages ago, or not ages ago, when the USADA shit came out. It was an hour-long video, and I've got timestamps in there, but at some point during the video, I've got timestamps saying where Dana was chatting shit about Jones and saying he's being a dickhead, we don't need him, he's overpricing himself and all that, because he was asking for too much money to go up and fight Ngannou. But obviously, once Ngannou left, and he's like, oh, look, I've got Cyril Gane here, even though Pavlovich was arguably more deserving at the time than Gane, I would say, coming off first round KO wins over Lewis and Tai, with his Gane was coming off a third round TKO against Tai after literally losing the belt after losing a title fight his previous fight. But whatever, that's the past. Yeah, he won the belt on March 5th, and since then, 0 defenses, hasn't fought, and probably won't end up fighting either till the end of this year or next year. Like, let's be honest, when are we going to see Jones back? Like, is he coming back November, MSG? Are we just going to do that again against Stipe? And then, like, he's going to win, and then he's probably going to be either like, guys, I'm out. If he realizes that the UFC is like, okay, bro, you got to either, like, leave and just vacate, or you got to fight Aspinall, and then he'll be like, oh, fuck that, and then he'll leave. Or he's going to hold the belt for, like, another year and be like, I'm just thinking of what the best options are for me, and probably be like, I've decided to take some time off. Like, he's going to do some bullshit like that, but I don't know, it's really weird. I don't know why he's trying to invalidate Aspinall's title and say, like, half the guys you beat I haven't heard of. Like, who have you beat at heavyweight? You beat Gane, and that's it. Gane is also... Honestly, Gane was in first place for the duck of the heavyweight division, but... fuck, sorry. But since then, you've overtaken Gane. Like, you and Gane are the top 2 ducks in the heavyweight division. Gane just got gifted a title shot on a platter, and then he went off, lost to you, came back and beat Spivak, and now he's asking for a title shot. So I don't know what the fuck's going on there. But why are you trying to invalidate Aspinall's title win? Like, you didn't win a vacant belt against a guy coming off 1 win. Like, what are you talking about? So, in my opinion, it should have been Pavlovich versus Jones in the first place if it was going to be a vacant title. And I don't know why they did Gane. Like, it's not like Gane's some massive star. Like, he's fought for a belt before, but who cares? And then Pavlovich goes around, like, a month later, TKO's Blades in the first round. Undoubtedly the number 1 contender, but no, Stipe International Fight Week. Then that gets pushed back. And then it's MSG, and then Jones pulls out. Sergey fights Aspinall, then Aspinall wins. Like, what it should have been is when Jones pulled out, it should have been Stipe versus Sergey. Because they're just trying to protect Stipe and just keep him alive so that Jones can have this free win and a so-called money fight, even though I don't think anyone cares. Like, I am more interested than both. Pereira, Pavlovich, and Aspinall versus Jones are all more interesting fights to me. And Blades even versus Jones. They're all more interesting fights to me than Stipe versus Jones. Like, I don't care. But whatever, let's look at some more tweets. So, what's he saying now? It would be absolutely massive. A guy with a chance to become a 3-division champion and a GOAT versus the actual GOAT. Same age, different strengths, no one can argue that would be the biggest fight in MMA history. It's just not true, but whatever. There's no fight that generates a payday like that. Marketing would be insane. Yes, that's a very big fight. Extremely big fight. It would be very cool to see. But also, fight Aspinall. Like, he's basically just trying to go like, oh yeah, I'm only focused on money fights. Like, to be honest, respectfully, if you're the champion, your focus is not on money fights, your focus is on building legacy as the champion. Because guess what? Your light heavyweight legacy's got nothing to do with your heavyweight legacy. As far as I'm concerned, you're not Jon Jones, 11 title defenses, GOAT of the sport. You're Jon Jones, 1 win at heavyweight, just won the belt, hasn't defended it in over a year, and ducking the interim champion. Like, that's what you are. I don't care about your light heavyweight wins. I don't care about... Yes, Pereira should actually be able to move up to heavyweight at some point. I think Pereira should have to fight a couple more times because he's only defended his light heavyweight belt once. And I like Pereira. I would love to see that. But if Pereira's gonna move up, like we see it, like Volk had to win 4 title defenses before he went up to lightweight. Guys should have to actually defend their belt. It's not just money fight. Like and that's why I'm so against the idea of doing like Taporia versus O'Malley or some shit, because it's just retarded. But yeah, he's like, money, biggest fight in history. It just wouldn't be the biggest fight. It would be a very big fight. It would definitely sell over 1 million pay-per-views, but wouldn't be the biggest fight in history. And also, your job as the champion, is to just defend the belt and not just focus on money fights, because that's what happened when Conor just dipped for ages and then wasn't fighting. Like, you got to stick to being the champion. You got to fight. Your job as a champion, it's very simple. You just got to fight the next guy in line and then get back to training and fight the next guy in line. And if that's not going to be your job, if that's not what you want to do, if you don't want to have that line of contenders cycle through and beat all of them, then don't be the champion. If that's not the job you're up to, then do something else. Like, go just vacate the belt and just take money fights or leave. Like, it's dumb, but whatever. More tweets. We got him saying, if Pereira became a champion in heavyweight, would you guys consider him the GOAT? Probably not, but he'd be close. But anyway, being back in the gym has got me thinking differently. That fight after Stipe could be the next biggest move I could possibly make. This killer had already defeated so many champions and is already considered a legend to millions around the world. The most massive fight the UFC could make. Give Alex a chance to avenge all those great Brazilian champions I've defeated. Again, he's trying to gaslight the fans into saying like, oh yeah, money fight, Pereira, cool, because he thinks that people care to see Pereira fight at heavyweight more than they care to see Aspinall, who's actually the most difficult contender. Like, that's what he's doing. He's basically being like, you guys want to see Pereira at heavyweight, right? Yeah. You guys like this? Okay, cool. I'll fight Pereira at heavyweight, because he's trying to do anything to be like, oh, how can I not fight Aspinall? Like, how can I direct some of the criticism and not fight Tom Aspinall? That's exactly what he's doing. He just tweeted this one a couple minutes ago. He says, from my point of view, it feels more like number one contender after Stipe. This is in response to someone saying Tom Aspinall's literally the interim champion. And he's saying Aspinall's the number one contender after Stipe, acting like Stipe isn't 42 coming off a KO loss and hasn't won in like 4 years. Like, why is he acting like Stipe is the number one contender? I'll list off people that are more deserving than Stipe. You want to know who's more deserving? Alright, Aspinall's more deserving. Gane is even fucking more deserving in a rematch, to be honest. Not in terms of Jones, but just to fight for the belt as a whole. Even Pavlovich coming off a loss, if he beats Volkov, is more deserving. If Almeida hadn't lost to Blades, he'd be more deserving. Blades is more deserving, if I didn't say him already. If Volkov beats Pavlovich, he'll be more deserving. If Almeida beats Romanov, he'll arguably be more deserving. Because guess what? All of those guys will be coming off wins. But no, Stipe's the guy, and then Aspinall is the number one contender after him. So he's even admitting that Pereira's not even the number one contender, because he's not even in the division. So yeah, that's just cope and delusion. He tweeted that recently, and I'm going to show you some replies to some of his tweets. He's getting cooked in the replies. So these are some of the replies. Someone saying, Tom is quite literally the interim champion. If you aren't going to fight him, just drop the belt. Yep, agree. Newsflash, you also won the belt against a contender. That's exactly what I was saying. Trying to cherry pick an easier fight when there's an interim champ already is pathetic. And then these other ones, should have stayed at light heavyweight if you want to fight light heavyweights instead of heavyweight number one contenders. Hate from France, from Lavolk. Who hits harder, your wife or DC? Good stuff. And then this is the one guy, Blonde at MMA, who's just the Jones fan on Twitter that's just trying to cope and acts like, bro, Jones doesn't know you. He's not going to let you hit. Even though Jones would let many people hit. But Pereira would be a much bigger fight. When Tom loses to Cyril, his height will already die. I just don't think Aspinall would lose to Cyril. And also, Pereira is a bigger star than Aspinall. Yes, I'm not doubting that. But it shouldn't be based off who's a bigger star. Because that means that Colby Covington's title shot was deserved. Which it wasn't. That means just people getting free title shots is just deserved because they're bigger stars. If Conor came back and instead of fighting Chandler, they're like, oh yeah, you're fighting Leon Edwards right now. is that deserved? No, but oh yeah, Connor's the biggest star, so obviously it makes the most sense. Fuck off. But yeah, Jones, disgraceful behaviour. This one was a couple weeks ago when Jones was just acting like he was doing charity work for Stipe and saying, yeah, we shouldn't, why are you guys saying no to Stipe? He's a legend and it's the biggest fight of his life, so that's why we're giving it to him. Yeah, sure, John, we're acting like you fucking give a shit about Stipe. Like, the only reason you're taking the fight is because it's easier and Stipe has a name and he's a former champion, so technically on paper you can be like, look, I beat the greatest heavyweight of all time, even though we know that at this current state that means fuck all. Like, right now, a win over like Jairzinho Rosenstrike is like the same level of impressiveness as like beating Stipe right now. Like, you ain't DC that went up and beat Stipe back in like 2018 or 2019 or whatever. Fuck, whenever that happened. But that's not what this is. This is you fighting a guy coming off a KO loss against Ngannou, who left the sport now over a year ago, and also you didn't want to fight him either, so you waited, and then you're like, yep, Stipe, that's the next guy, despite him needing a fucking cane and like hobbling to walk into the arena at UFC 295 to watch Aspinall Pavlovich instead, when he should have been in there against one of them, probably Pavlovich, given that he was the backup fighter. And if Pavlovich had just gone out there and fought Stipe and just slumped him in a round, then what's Jones going to do? That's why the UFC didn't want to do it, because they knew Pavlovich would fucking smoke Stipe, and so they still need Stipe to be like, oh yeah, this is the guy, because if Pavlovich had just smoked him, then there's no other big star at heavyweight for them to be like, yeah, this is the fight that makes sense, because they would know that Jones would probably retire. Like, on that night, if Pavlovich just smoked Stipe and KO'd him out cold in the first, like, Jones straight up ain't fighting again. Guarantees not fighting again. Maybe he fights Pavlovich, because Pavlovich does have a bit more of a grappling weakness than Aspinall, but I still don't think he wants that smoke. Like, it's just disgraceful stuff from Jonathan Jones. These are all tweets from his rants back last year, I think, or maybe earlier this year, when he was just having a cry about everyone in the comments saying, bro, you're clearly ducking, fight Aspinall. And he's just been like, what do you mean I have to fight Aspinall? Oh, I can't do that. Like, he's just trying to justify any reason and be like, my Stipe fight came along well before yours. It's like, yeah, well, your fight came along because you pulled out against Stipe. Even though, like, bro, let's be honest, Stipe's that shit. You probably still could have beaten him with a washed arm, but I guess Jones has to be at 100% capacity to fight. And also, I don't know, maybe, imagine he was, like, juicing for the Stipe fight. That would have been just a different level of sad. But, yeah, he's acting like, yeah, my Stipe fight's the number one priority in the sport. Nothing takes priority over this. Bro, look at the reaction on social media. When you pulled out and the Stipe fight got cancelled and they announced Aspinall Pavlovich, literally all the response was, this is a better fight, I like this more, this is more competitive, this is cool, this will actually be like a proper number one contender for Jones. Like, all of the replies, there was no replies going, damn, I really wanted to see Stipe versus Jon, man. Like, I don't think he gets the idea, or maybe he does and he's just trying to cope about it and just trying to, like, force the fans into being like, you guys care about Stipe still, don't you? Yeah? Me and Stipe is still a really interesting fight. He's still trying to make people think that, which is just retarded. But those are just some of his tweets from ages ago. I'm not going to read all of them out and stuff, and I already did that in my big, like, hour-long video talking about Jones's legacy and shit like that a couple weeks ago, so go watch that. But I'll leave it there. I think that's enough. Everyone knows the picture. You know, Pereira's got guys to fight at light heavyweight. The Yuri rematch is what he's saying he's going for. And then he said he wants to... And then I guess Ankalaev is probably deserving after that. But I think with Pereira, it's going to be the Yuri rematch and then Ankalaev. At heavyweight, it's pretty simple. Tom just fight Aspinall. Aspinall's going to end up fighting either Blades or Garn. Probably Blades in Manchester. He's going to smoke him, and if he doesn't, if he has a slightly competitive fight, then John's probably just going to be like, see guys, I told you, it's not that interesting. But yeah, we got to just hope that that Aspinall just runs through Blades and doesn't fucking even get hit, just so that Jones can't go on Twitter and be like, this guy didn't even do that well against Blades or some shit like that, because he'll try and cope or bring something up to act like Tom isn't like the worst. Like, the only thing out of all this code, out of all these cryptic things that he's saying of like all this cope and bullshit that he's saying Pereira's a bigger fight, all this, it's all just code for Tom Aspinall is bigger than me. He's faster than me. He's stronger than me, maybe. He's got more power. He's the most diverse striker I've probably ever fought on the feet in terms, or especially at heavyweight. He's strong. He's got a good defensive grappling base and offensive grappling base. He hits hard as shit. He's basically just refusing to be like, yeah, Tom is the hardest matchup for me possible. And also, he's the hardest matchup for me since, or even harder than, Ngannou. And that's why I didn't want to fight Ngannou either. Not like, because Ngannou, what was the reason there? You wanted more money or something? Like, come on, what are you doing? But yeah, Tom Aspinall, just fight him. You're a duck. The duck of the division. I thought it was Gane. No, Jones is clearly... I'm going to do a ducks tier list. A UFC ducks tier list, or like a biggest duck per division. And Jon Jones will be taking that spot for heavyweight. Or that S tier spot if we're doing a tier list. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for more content coming soon. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.